We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Wall City getting things going. They're going to be looking across the field at the Tom's Tourney champs from this year, the Mooncatchers. Welcome back, ULTI.TV. I'm Stefan Rapazzo here with Hannah Pendlebury in this second round action, open division of the Elite Invite in Bern. Hannah, how are we today?
We are very well, thank you, good sir. And to be extremely stereotypically British, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the weather, Stefan. It is glorious sunshine, but my oh my, is it a bit of a blustery, gustery day here in Bern?
Just slowly picking up as the day's gone on. Now a consistent left to right on your screen. It is left to right with a little bit of back into the camera. It's kind of diagonally cutting through the field here, and it's making it a thrower's day today. Let's see which team here can be a little bit more precise out of hand. These two teams match up well. Of course, in the first round, they had opposite results. One getting away with a win, one with a loss. How did that shake out?
Well, certainly Mooncatchers, after a night in the glorious bunker here at the kind of sports complex in Bern, they had a bit of a slow start against Clapham Ultimate, which one of the Clapham roster is having getting married today. Congratulations to him. We'll talk about them potentially if Clapham get on the stream, but maybe not quite a full fat squad. Some of the big names, household items from the Clapham roster not actually present here at the Elite Invite. So they had a bit of a sloppy start, but managed to sort of, pick themselves up, get properly warm, get it all clicking and humming. So we're expecting Mooncatchers to come into this game pretty well tooled. How about Wall City, Stefan? How'd they get on?
Wall City's first match, they fared the other way as far as the result went. They got the loss, but they did put up a good game. They fought strong against La Fota into the first half, 7-7, 8-8, before La Fota started piling on a break or two at a time to stretch it out to a 4-point victory, 15-11. And they feel like they could give a little bit more, but they were happy with the way they played in the first half, and credit La Fota for having a great game too. Speaking of which, the pole caught by Alessandro De Luca, an ex-La Fota player here, debuting this weekend with his new team from Brussels, the Mooncatchers. Here they come. Ref Yonkers centers to Oczynski. Orlovskis, the big Latvian, number 99, goes back to Yonkers. Those two have no problem playing with each other if need be. Hutanen stretches to Ben Yonkers. who we did not see with them at Tom's tournament. Hutanen again, and then Ref Yonkers. Mooncatchers engaging their red zone offense, goes across to Orlovskis. Oh. Stalkout mounting, but breaks, not in for goal. On the doorstep still. Hutanen looks to go around and then looks back to center. Stalkout mounting, left hand release, Yonkers to Orlovskis. Then to Ref Yonkers, they do put in their first asking clean hold, Hannah.
Well, that's a great defensive stand from Wall City. Lots of passes being required from Mooncatchers to punch that one. A nice Yonkers sandwich to finish it off. I'm not sure what the filling exactly was, but yeah, that was nice, competent offense. You can actually really see the impact of the wind on the game, knocking the hats off the head of the players on the field. I think Hutanen lost his cap, so he was grinding up the far sideline, but good patience and a nice opener for this game, which I hope is going to be a very close run thing.
We're all hoping for as much. You got to credit the defense there. Nothing easy in that point. As crisp as Moon were, they had very small openings. They had to work for every cut there. Wall City applying good defensive pressure despite succumbing to a clean hold. And
the response from Mooncatchers was a bit of throwing creativity. We saw a really nice one, I think it was from Ref, of that kind of sort of arcing blade over to the kind of the far side to Hutanen to just open up the space a little bit more, stretch the play, and even a lefty over the head toss. Not an overhead throw, but over the head of the defender. A lefty offhand, backhand, just to kind of keep that quick flow going.
Let's see what the Mooncatchers, rather what Wall City do on their first offensive possession. Went into play right away, and it's Metzka who gets it on the far flank line. He goes to Kay. Kay winds up the big and delivers. It's Schlor there, but he does not have position. He did get a hand to it, but that one goes away, and Mooncatchers will get the first break chance of the game.
Nice to see Conrad Schlor returning to the fold, missing, of course, at Tom's tourney. We said, could they do well without him? They did do pretty well, but that one, I think Basov thought that was going to be a catch for sure.
Desmarais goes to Bontemps. Bontemps to Beekmans. And that one thrown away, but there was a hand on it. There's a foul on the play. Back in the hands of Beekmans. He does full 360 pivot, then rips an inside forehand to Desmarais. Far sideline, continuation off the hands of Bontemps, and they've given it back. This is still chance to hold as Schlor gets it in his hands again. Throws it too far in front, but that should have been handled. Metzger not happy with his inability to squeeze the hand on that one. Second break chance. Albatinch, the 1-2 in a two-part Latvian pickup series to Desmarais. Long jumps it in. Break on the board, 2-0 early in this one.
Yeah, lovely piece of work there from Dan Desmarais, and a proper trust ball from Albatinch. We know Dan Desmarais, the Jet Set Leuven original player, who's known for playing with Mooncatchers every so often, for example at Worlds campaigns. But he is not a true Moon. To be fair though, Moon do have they're almost like, and you'll forgive the reference, Stefan, the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but they don't have a child catching net. It's just an international Frisbee talent catching net, and it's very large. But in terms of this sort of squad strength and the point we are in the season, whilst Wall City are definitely, deservedly so up in this elite sort of division, being invited to come and join us here in Bern. This is early on in their season, and definitely their focus at this stage of the year is bringing those new personnel in and kind of, bringing it all together. So this is not, a worry for Wall City to be a breakdown here. This is a challenge for their younger staff, their kind of defensive unit, to actually come and, give it to Mooncatchers, see if he can grab the disc back off them. But I think if I were to put some money on this game, Stefan, it might be in the Belgian camp.
Yeah, their roster is sensational looking, even different than the one we saw a few days ago, and upgraded since then as far as players we were not sure about, we wondered about, and now we see them confirmed, and boy, do they look good, especially coming off the heels of a Tom's victory. Metzger goes under to Basov. Gets it on the upline return cut. Wide angle, does keep a hand on that, does Heinrich. And Metzger does well to keep that from the defensive pressure. Bontemps, Schlor. Schlor goes to Kay. Oh, and Garvey does well to hang on to that one. Metzger now 5 meters out, far sideline. Kay engaged, takes the up line, takes it twice, and now no one in the backfield. And Metzger forced to throw it away.
Yeah, great defensive pressure from Mooncatchers there. Surprised early stage at that point not to see the swing to the strong side of the field taken, even though Kay was extremely poached off.
Albatinch and Demarais behind the disc for the Mooncatcher break line. Pick on the field, double bicep flex. Demarais, he rips it. Bontemps there, Metzger in front. Bontemps gets rid of the hat. Metzger takes position, but Bontemps keeps the disc. Is there any strip discussion? No, none at all. They jostled, and Bontemps wins the goal.
Oh, 3 on the bounce for Mooncatchers. Ouch. I'm fairly sure David Metzger had a hand on the disc as well as Sophien Bontemps, but the problem is he's not on offense.
Exactly.
Bontemps is.
They just traded back and forth position there a couple times in that route. And at the very end, Bontemps was out of position when he made that play.
Well, sensational bomb deep. That was, again, I think the trust is really evident in the Mooncatchers squad. They know what they're about. They know what each other can do. And yeah, unsurprisingly, after conceding 3 goals, Wall City calling a timeout.
We'll take a break while they do too. Be back with action as soon as they are.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Back after the timeout, pull up by the Mooncatchers, bounces and handled in the Wall City end zone. Wall City just after the timeout, they got to tidy up. A couple too many unforced errors in the early frame of this game, but they get that one through the zone. They're looking at to Garvey and then to Kay. They're going to go around the handling set. Gaffney to Metzger.
Love that coaching choice. You've just got 3 on the bounce, 2 breaks for you, change up the rhythm, throw a zone, especially with the wind.
And that's exactly what Wall City are going to talk about, what they've been looking at. It was a match, and then they give them something totally different. I love it as well, Hanny. Here come Wall City, though. They are marching up the field thus far. Metzger almost got caught sleeping there, but hangs on. Now Kay. Far sideline, centering towards Metzger. He fakes the scoop. Now Gaffney. Approaching their red zone. Defense tightening, but Kay goes to ground and picks it up with 2 hands. Shot for goal, arcing blade, and hung on to there. Eichler gets the job done, and Wall City on the board after the timeout.
Yep. I like the coaching choice of putting the zone on. Wall City, though, responding extremely well to that change. You know, realistically, in some respects, it does make Wall City's job a little bit easier. You've gotten the turns previous points by playing really grindy, really intense match defense, where you're putting those layouts just close enough to the disc to really make yourselves that huge threat. Big redemption there from Phil Kay to keep possession alive, just sacrificing his shoulder a little touch, but popped out the grasp absolutely fine. Slight contesting of that score, you know, wasn't the cleanest thing in the world, but a huge grab from Leo Eichler on that blady disc that was coming down to earth with some re-entry speed.
Great look from our drone we've got up in the air despite little bits of wind here. As much as Wall City did hold cleanly, looking at a different defense, it does still make them second guess next time they're out there. What are we gonna have to look at? So I do still like that choice. To concede a point on defense is not the end of the world, especially with a 3-0 early game lead. And now it's a good way to just make sure Wall City will never get comfortable, score or not. Orlovsky stops the roll, Ben Yonkers picks up, and it is underway. Ref Yonkers, Ochinsky to Orlovsky's, and wow, that got to the end zone quick. Oh, Orlovsky's got up as he always does, but couldn't squeeze the hand this time.
Well, take note of that Orlovsky's error in an aerial pursuit. You're not going to see very many of those this year.
Very strong in the air, that man. That time it gets away. And Wall City with a break chance.
Yeah, shooting against the wind, it's now turned from right to left, so upwind, break, defense, offense.
Swirling winds behind Wankdorf Stadium here in Bern. That one forwarded. Vinderholm to Smith. Wall City D-line grinding away. Gaffney centers. Vanderholm. And Gaffney far sideline. Good defense by the Mooncatchers O-line, but Wall City continue to make completions. Gaffney with a gainer there. Lots of high stall counts, all said. Gaffney with another one there and has to throw a Hail Mary, low Hail Mary, but a left-handed layout pickup for that goal. But there is a discussion, and the discussion is about that high stall count.
Well, for the man responsible for the design etiquette of Yogo Benito, that was not anything he drew up in advance. That was an absolute improv throw. Great snag from Wieland Freimark, regardless of whether that one's going to come back on a stalling 8 maximum or will stand as a goal. That was just a chuck it in hope. But hey, great offense up until that point to go. That's good discussion, and the goal will stand.
That one comes off, a wild one, but Wall City respond, holding the break, go down in a hole where there was some worry amongst us in the commentary booth here when we were on our break. But great response from Wall City since then. They've done nothing but succeed since their timeout.
Well, the way they played offense against that zone, maybe giving them a bit more confidence, you know, that change of pace, actually threading it together. I still like the idea of putting that zone out on the 4th point of this game that allowed Wall City's handler set to just chill a little bit more. But Lady Luck favouring the Brave there as we see another look at that shot from Christian Gaffney. Nice shots there over Bern. What are you thinking so far of Bern as a city, Stefan?
We're just outside of the city. Last evening I did get to go out into a very particular part of town that is excluded from municipal governing for some unbeknownst reason. I asked a few questions and there were not very many answers, but it was super cool part of town, covered in graffiti. the central part of town. Just absolutely beautiful, great architecture, some beautiful bridges over the riverside, wonderful city.
And some stunning Jesuit churches.
You better believe it. Here comes the Mooncatchers. That's ref Yonkers into the guts of Feller. Yonkers to Yonkers, that's ref to Ben and back to ref again. Ref zips it forward, Marek with the disc. This is a very international line out there. Now DeLuca gets his first touch besides picking up a pull as a Mooncatcher. Gives and goes, and he's got it again. DeLuca. Forward. That looks like Feller on the doorstep. Puts it right in to the guts of... Oh, we've got a pick on the play.
Really enjoying the sheer commitment to grinding yourself to the open side from Mooncatchers. They are very, very rapid athletes and certainly are being given pretty big buffers by Wall City, but they are just open siding it, squeezing up this near sideline, but doing it quite comfortably.
So it's Marek with the disc in his hands, or had it in his hands. It's back in the hands of Feller, who was the would-be assist thrower, but if it's back in his hands, that clearly does not count as an assist at this stage. Arthur Feller, disc tapped back in, meters away. He dumps to Ben Yonkers. Yonkers back to Feller. Feller to Ben Yonkers. Yonkers goes around. What a throw. What a beautiful throw to his brother, Ref Yonkers. Assist to goal. Yonkers to Yonkers.
Yeah, so if a pair of ultimate athletes are in a romantic coupling, we call it a honey pass. What do we call it when it's two brothers?
A bruzzy pass. We don't
Suggestions in the chat. Suggestions in the chat. What should we use as our terminology for this?
Resist.
But yeah, it's a meatless Yonkers sandwich.
Yeah, but I know
for
that
now.
In this sense, when we're talking about bonkers to ronkers, we could call that one bazonkers for the connection from one to the other.
And getting another look at that lovely low break around backhand. A little bit of an air bounce on it, which is kind of nice in this windy condition. The sort of wind wasn't really apparent at that point. It is such a changeable field condition out here. In terms of the actual grass, it's very lush, it's very nice. It's like a carpet under your feet, but the pitches are bumpy. There are little kind of hills and like angles and level changes across the field site here in Bern, which creates that little bit of something extra challenge. But Wall City just need to get the hold here, trailing one break.
Bontemps with the pull. Wall City, a hold to bring it back to within one. Metzger goes wide. That's floating near the sideline, and it's Conrad Schlor out of nowhere to save the day there. He redistributes to Metzger, and they're still moving to Heinrich. Before that one gets to Schlor in the end zone in no time at all.
Well, that was quite the laser shot into the end zone. I think it was Tom's Aveltinch who that sort of flashed past him. It's like he saw his life flash before his eyes as the disc went past. But Conrad Schlor, the hero of that point, redeeming that very errant, ambitious pass on that fast sideline with the sort of almost like rock star slide, or maybe slip and slide action from the sort of deep space on the pitch. But what a visionary shot. Really just flat, slow and low. Well, so not slow and low. Flat.
Slow and fast as can be.
Yeah, fast and
laser-like.
You could cut through all sorts of things with that kind of throw. And a pack of ultimate players is the best.
Indeed. Like a hot knife through butter. That was one end to the other, midfield to end zone in no time at all. And Wall City respond back within one. 4-3 is the lead for the Mooncatchers. Let us know what you think if you're paying attention to our previews. The Mooncatchers version, Tom's tourney versus the Mooncatchers version you see in front of us. Which is the better version? As Maddock goes back to Ref Yonkers. Ref gets it again to Oczynski, turns around and keeps his eyes upfield for just a second. Gets DeLuca. DeLuca winds up, looks back to center, engaged Ben Yonkers and didn't have it, then goes wide to Oczynski, straight in to Huuttanen, and that's a goal, a quick and easy one for the Mooncatchers that time.
Yeah, remarkable precision and pace for the O-line of Mooncatchers. That was, you know, over in a matter of moments, and just really lovely timing, just on the money. Not really too much to say about that. It wasn't flashy at all. It was just very nice, very sensible offense.
Oczynski very quick. He almost got Huuttanen turned around there, but quick to turn that crossfield pass from DeLuca into a goal. The crossfield pass from DeLuca, there was a fair bit of vision on that one to get across, get it in front of the defender.
And the sort of throw as you're pivoting type release. I think that was why that last pass was a tiny bit dirty, if we can be critical about anything. But enough to be competently held onto in the end zone.
The other game in this pool would be La Faute à Clapham, if that's, we've got some people asking. This is a very talented pool, we will say that much.
Anything could happen. Pool of Doom, I think we called it on our preview, as we see Schlor with the disc.
Schlor gets Kay, great play by Kay. Two hands over the head off balance. He goes backwards to Schlor.
You can really tell with the wind that the sort of more experienced players are putting a lot of zest on it. Is it doing too much?
Can't get there, that one goes to ground, and Mooncatchers get a chance to break.
Well, there you go. You put a lot on it to make sure it can fly straight in the wind. Sometimes as you come unglued, as we see an injury call there. Paul Ricketts. Hopefully he'll be all right.
Hit the ground pretty heavy, stretching out to make an attempt at that. They were great attempts. The throw, it was the error was on the throwing side of that disc.
I guess it's that, you know, adjustment you're throwing with the wind behind you, so it's always going to be pushed down, even if you try and put as much spin on it as possible.
Vendeholm comes in for the substitution, and Albatinch picks up the disc, looking to break. He scoops over top. That floated longer than he would have wanted, but he gets the completion. Van de Broek goes to Desmarais. He turns himself inside out, pivoting backwards, and then breaks with a backhand in for a goal. And Moon get the break there. It's Courtout with the goal.
Yeah, love that little cheeky, again, a big stretch around, air bounce break backhand, going directly into the wind. Very finessed throw from Desmarais. But those are the moments where you just have that little step off of a defender. Someone just pretty much stood still in the middle of the end zone. Someone distracted their matchup. Easy goal for Moon. You raised an interesting point though, Stefan, on the which is the better roster, the Toms Mooncatchers or the Elite Invite Mooncatchers. Talk about magic wand experiments. Magic wand, you know, you don't have to, there's no real reality about it. That would be a fun game to watch, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it indeed? Of course, it's a majority of the under-24s they get back. The 2 of the 3 they lose are here in other divisions. Walt Janssen and Guy Lancelin, and of course Paul Arter's back overseas, but those three very handy amongst themselves.
Yeah, and a big impact Paul Arter's had on the back set for Mooncatchers for sure.
Gaffney gets it, 2 passes into the possession. Now Metzger fakes the scoop and goes straight back to Gaffney, playing in their own end zone now. Looking at a zone front now. Bit of an arrowhead, huck stopper defense. And they get the gainer to Schlor. Straight back to Metzger around. They had the deep, but the throw was not available. Few throws later, back to Conrad Schlor, far sideline, into Metzger and Gaffney now, near sideline. Kay has the lead to Basov and could not pull the trigger properly.
You could see immediately the body language of Phil Kay there. It was such a squandered opportunity. It was just too free, Stefan. Phil Kay needs a harder target to throw to.
Yep, that was too easy for me. Make it more difficult and I'll do better. And the Mooncatchers with disc in hand playing in their end zone now. Demarais goes around to Beekmans. He didn't want to catch it the first time, but does it the second. Far sideline to Lamine. Now Beekman's forwards, but that's to Kay and another chance to hold. Gaffney. Goes to Schlor. That one to White, even with the bid behind. A fair bit too far behind, but there's another goal. Wall City do get the chance to hold.
Well, there you go. Phil Kay redeemed for his earlier error, you know, on the safer side of the disc. He only had to do a catch there, didn't have to throw the pass afterwards. But yeah, a little bit of luck for John Beekmans there. That kind of recatch, just again, really demonstrating the difficulty level of the wind that these players are having to experience. A very brief rules quiz for you, Stefan.
Uh-oh.
At the beginning of that point, when the pool was being fielded, there was a moment where a cone that demarcates the end zone was kicked off the field by the player. Is that a thing you can do in Ultimate these days?
Yeah, I believe no. I believe you're meant to put your heel next to it on the inside step of the field on the line, and that you do not have that luxury of kicking it away and having a bit more space from your defender. Am I right?
That is accurate. People that move the cone in order to put their pivot foot established on where the line intersects with the end zone and the field line, on the line is out, as we all know in this game. So for future reference, viewing public that play Ultimate Frisbee, please leave the cones alone. They didn't do anything to you. But also credits the sideline for re-establishing the cone in its proper position shortly thereafter.
Paul Huttinen underneath it, and Feller gets it 2 throws later, far sideline. Zipped Ochinsky. He engages Ben Yonkers into a small slot there, and now Ref Yonkers on the under. Immediately into the guts of his brother Ben. These Yonkers brothers can take over a game as they've done. That time, Feller feeds the goal to Deleuze. And there's a pick on the play, and it's going to come back. Yeah, double bicep flex is the indication.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the kind of movement down pitch of Mooncatchers, that sort of like trotting, not quite a stack, just cluster of individuals, keeping the defense really guessing as to what the shape the offense is going to take. And well to do it in a way that doesn't pick until the end zone. The only picks we've seen for Moon have been in the end zone.
Back into the hands of Feller 2 or 3 throws ago. Feller goes back to Ben Yonkers. Ben fakes the hammer, and that is a very viable throw for him, we know all too well. Feller to Ref Yonkers. Back to Ben Yonkers, and Feller gets it again. Looks forward, had a few options. Ben thought maybe I might have to lay out for this, but no. Stands up tall and gets his speed. Ref Yonkers. Doorstep, not my favorite release, and it ends up being a turnover, a little bit too casual for the throw to score.
Yeah, went up far too early. I have to say, well, maybe Arvid Zoslovskis is actually one of the few players on Mooncatchers who hasn't quite woken up yet. His head's still in the bunker. Apparently, some of the athletes on Moon did have a bit of a difficult night's sleep. The AC kept them up during the night, so they're all going to be buying earplugs from the nearest general store for tonight, I'm pretty sure.
Buying earplugs always a great idea on tournament.
Absolutely, especially when you're in communal rooms.
Timeout here on the field. We're going to take a break. We will be back with you for action after the timeout. Thanks as always for being with us.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe. ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Back from the timeout. 6-4. Wall City disc. Chance to bring it back to within one. Smith, the timeout caller, with disc in hand. Oh, fake the hammer, but look at that defense by ref Yonkers all over him. Smith gets it back, playing in their own end zone. Gets it out of the trouble zone for a second to Freemark. Now the big wind up. Vendehold. Freemark again. Back to Smith. Oh, wind up inside out. It's gonna flatten out, trailing away. Yonkers the first one to get there. That's Benjamin, and he knocks it to the ground.
Yeah, difficult one to chuck and hope against probably one of the best deep defenders you'll see. Yonkers the younger.
Yonkers the younger. Bonkers. Benjamin, as he picks up, puts it back into play. Hutanen. Orlovsky's. Goes to Ben Yonkers. Now Ochinsky. He's wound up and right into the hands of the defender. Johnson takes that one away. Now Vendehold. Big mark on him, but he, oh, I said he did, and he goes around, but oh no, he doesn't.
Absolute denied.
And they're right back at it. Deleuze to Feller. Feller wide and around, just picked up by Ochinsky. Ben Yonkers hammer. Two ref Yonkers for the goal. Mooncatchers stretch the lead now, 7-4.
I feel like we need to be having a tally on this game of the number of scores generated for Mooncatchers that are Yonkers to Yonkers connections. Like
the hockey assists and the midfield, the play-breaking connections is what you're talking about here.
Well, no, even just for their, purely for the scores, one Yonkers to the other Yonkers. Like, there have been, I would wager at least 3 so far this game. I'd have to check the stats, but Yeah.
Well, I mean, just checking their personal statistics. I mean, Ben Yonkers has 3 assists and a block. Ref Yonkers has 3 goals, a block. Like, I don't know if those
must
were
be 2
all
then.
from one to the other, but it's...
Well, 2 of them have been dual connections, because we had our chat about what should we call it if it's what's the sibling equivalent of a honey point.
I'm still calling it bazonkers.
Oh yes, but we need to find something for non-yonkers situations. Well, unless it's just called bazonkers for the ref.
No, brothers. We need a brother, a fraternal assist, Yeah,
we could go for that.
Frasist.
Either way, it is a delight to see the 2 of them together once more. Obviously, I'm personally very excited to see what this Belgian under-24s team can do at Nottingham.
Oh, goodness gracious. Going to the ham. Okay, I should stop that, but it's really difficult. I love it. Kay winds up and puts it away. Centers to Metzger. Metzger, wide side of the field now. Garvey slowed down, but still handled it with Bontemps on his hip. And now Metzger goes around to Basov. Basov reluctant to look at his dump, but it's because there is some blockage in the stack.
One player we haven't mentioned, who's a non-Latvian pickup, who's moved to Berlin, is of course Ned Garvey, he's used to playing with Olovskis and Abeltinge, not against them.
And now with Berlin, as he's moved there at the start of this year, and that one got pumped downfield at the same time the receiver stopped.
It's showing the credit of the Mooncatchers defense. There have been a number of opportunities at this point where Wall City are having to just try and route one it and bang it straight towards the deep space. It's not always coming off for them.
Beekmans, he goes deep. That one's floating. Too many under that. Schlor takes it away from all of them. Then he gets it up line to Eichler. Basov, near sideline. Schlor engaged, bump on the mark from Desmarais. Now Schlor wants it. There's a contact on the mark, foul called.
Yeah, shame for the defense. That was extremely tight and competent defense from Dan Desmarais, really shutting down Konrad Schlor.
One bump too tight in the end, but you're absolutely right. Schlor gets it. There was a poach, but he goes deep to Eichler, and that one counts. Wall City put another one on, down 7-5.
We talk a lot about Konrad Schlor's ability to catch, make blocks, but that was an absolute beauty of a roll curve backhand against the wind, beautifully weighted, and just arced over the head of the defender and into the perfect pocket, made it really, really easy for the receiver. I have to say though, he's sporting a very short-haired look. It's almost, dare I say it, prison chic. It's got that real like buzz cut look of it.
I like it. I've not heard it, but I accept it.
But I fear for his scalp because it's very sunny. Hopefully he's applied lots of sunscreen into those follicles.
Is it in the name of aerodynamics or style? To be found out. We'll ask those questions.
Perhaps it's seasonal.
The video stream, the best we can tell you from here is to go on to the EUF Instagram. There are directions there from the post yesterday that will get you there.
And we have no more information in terms of live scores other than what is made available when it's made available online on the official schedule, which you can of course find by searching for the Elite Invite Flying Angels Bern event page through your regular search engine.
De Luca puts this one to Ben Yonkers. He puts away 2 of his upfield cuts with fakes and then resets to De Luca. Now Feller, Ref Yonkers with Smith all over him. Goes around, Ben Yonkers. The slighter of these 2 brothers, but I must say that man is putting on some mass. And now Ochinsky goes deep, ref all sorts of time, puts out the albatross wings and cashes in a few steps later. That makes it halftime, Hannah. 8-5 in favor of the Mooncatchers in this first half. It's been a great bit of action so far.
It really has. I think, as we expected at the opening of this game, Mooncatchers looking that little bit extra flash of class above Wall City. I feel like in that last point, Wall City's D-line's heads were a little bit down, so maybe they can use this half-time break to kind of, generate a little bit more energy, to kind of, really get their heads back in. They're only trailing 2 breaks to Mooncatchers. There's a possibility, there's a chance. It's not over yet, but let's see what they can do in the second stage of this game, Stefan.
Anything can happen. Stay tuned. We're taking a break. See you in the second half. Second half, 8-5, and what a play to open up the half. The pull chase by Van der Broek is a layout D, 0 throws on the possession for Wall City.
Oh, ouch. Talk about coming out into second half firing. That was what Wall City needed to do.
Dang. Van der Broek recollects after getting that D. Around to Desmarais. Desmarais gets to Vanny. Albertinch, Van der Broek. Albertinch. He goes lefty, that's a wobbler. Desmarais went up first, they both went up and down, and Desmarais got it on the second effort. Backhand break, has the space he's after. That's the number 9 shirt, Sofiane Bontemps, who collects the goal, and Moon break again early second half.
My, oh my, Moon coming out absolutely guns blazing into this second half of pool play against Wall City. Bit of a player highlight, obviously Gaëtan van den Broek coming out and making that huge run-through block. I think there were a couple of passes, there was some centering, some fielding of the pool that happened, but absolute blazing gun speed. Finding Phil Kay a little bit, sort of just trotting around under that bit of a closed door on Conrad Schlor from Dan Desmarais there on our highlights reel. But Van den Broek is not by any means a rookie to the heights of Europe and the world, of course. Appeared on the under-20 team that was 4th back in Toronto. Under-17's 3rd, and under 24 future world champion in Nottingham, he dubs himself. So one of, again, maybe one of the talents we don't talk as much as we should about on that under 24 squad later on.
Serious confidence. Future world champion. They definitely have a chance. There's a lot of people excited about this Belgian under 24 team, maybe none more than him.
Indeed, and he says his sporting heroes is an individual called Kevin De Bruyne with class, talent and humility.
Gaffney gets this one going to Metzger, and 9-5, what a way to make a living for Wall City as Schlor toe drags the far line. Zips it back into Smith. He goes around, has Schlor again and gets the lefty. That one knocked away. He thought about a strip, but realizes he released that, and Desmarais credited with the block.
Is that a flail D?
Desmarais goes wide around, has Palais. Now using the entirety of their roster, Messmaker to Beekmans. De Ritter. Engaged now, gets the 11. Captain Delamine. And the shot for goal goes away.
Yeah, just a little bit of a undercooked throw from Pierre Allon. Delamine, lovely individual, of course. As you say, the captain and coach, the brains behind the Moons.
I thought they just did this on sheer grunt power. There's some thinking as well.
Oh, absolutely. There's some real input, you know, in the brain behind those lustrous overheads.
Absolutely. They know exactly what they're doing out there, and they are on an incline as of lately. They seem to just be getting better right now.
But an opportunity given back to Wall City to keep themselves with their chins above the waterline. Gaffney with the disc.
Metzger now playing out of his own end. Centers to Gaffney, still in his end zone. Down there towards Wankdorf Stadium. Kay misreads. Callahan to Delamine. Moon are doing just about everything out there right now.
Well, I thought in my head we are, as the well-worn phrase of Callahan County floats through your kind of, you know, your sense of it, and yeah, just a straight up overshot, nothing that Kay can really do, and capitalized excellently by Delamine.
You Brits say county, I would still say country, but we know what we're all talking about. That playing out of your own end, especially with the wind blowing back at you. It's a troublesome place to be, and this is why.
Yeah, not the type of assist that any handler wants on their record. But hey, that's how it goes. Lady Luck and certainly the elements favouring Mooncatchers in that point. Really tricky to execute those throws into the wind with enough to see them sail up, but sometimes that comes unstuck if it rises and your timing isn't quite right. But there have been moments when Mooncatchers also haven't had the right timing on these shots that are sitting and hanging in the wind. There have been a couple of, you know, almost like a cat with a ball of string above it trying to, you know, claw its way into the air. Turns out elite ultimate athletes are only human too.
I still don't believe it. They're superhuman.
They're superb humans.
Van der Holm to Ben Joseph. Back through the middle, playing out of their own end. Ben Joseph now. Backhand break to Vanderhold. High stall count, and it just puts right in the guts. Almost a football handoff there. to Gaffney, but nobody complains. There was some separation from hand, clearly, but only just.
I don't think that had any normal rotation. I think that rotated on a completely separate axis.
Fluttergut skills coming into play there. Vanderholm back to Ben Joseph. Didn't like the first option, but takes it with eventuality. Heinrich. Wide and no receiver there. I think we've got a pick we're seeing on the field that prevented the receiver from chasing.
Well, no pick should ever stop you from chasing the disc. That must have been before the throw by a couple of beats. Else that would have been a turn.
Back into play. Oh, the defense was coming, and that was Van der Broek again. And we know what he can do on the chase like that. Ben Joseph puts it away. Comes back, Vanderholm. Gaffney. Nice shot back into Heinrich. Vanderholm off the hand, it's macked. Second effort available, but still just too far in front.
You can't really ask any more of Willem Freimark there. Really gave it everything to try and reel in that one that just popped off of the fingertips. A real shame. Nice though to see the poach off exploited in a better position of Richard Heinrichs. There was an opportunity before where he actually ended up coming in and under and receiving the disc anyway before that pick call, which was his throw that was on initially. But on the second giving of that opportunity on that inside, that was a really nice exploitation. Set up that play around, just didn't quite work out.
Albatinch goes backwards to Bontemps. Hammers to Desmarais. Ben Joseph tries to put a sniff on it. Van der Broek sees Beekmans in front.
I do like the appearance of the zone though.
Albatinch running to a floater, well weighted in the end. Great vision there on the assist. And back on the board, it's 11-5 for the Mooncatchers.
And you can see how much Moon are really enjoying this game. Tom Zabeltinch there with a little bit of a DJ-inspired celebration, having a little bit, getting involved with the speaker stack here in Bern. But I can't help but be delighted to watch Moon executing this standard of offense. There was an opportunity. I like the zone look from Wall. I like that switch to it. There was, you know, if Joel Ben Joseph could be half an inch more of wingspan, that would have been a block, and it would have looked really cool. But chances over the zone, you've got that extra couple of clusters of confidence amongst the Mooncatchers, which is what's generating, I think, a lot of their pressure on defense and allowing them to put together some really nice plays on O.
And we've talked about Mooncatchers coming with a big roster. We've talked about their ability to be able to use the whole roster, and we see in games like this when they can spread open the lead a bit, give some of their big guns a breather and get the whole roster working. Gets them all in the game for when they're needed later in the tournament, and also gives a very important breather to some of their top line players.
It's not a stupid heavy duty schedule though. There are 6 games spread across 3 days here in Bern, so really very good opportunity to have fresh legs all tournament long.
Fresh legs is good, but there is that question. Does that breather take players out of rhythm? Some want a bit more, they want to stay in rhythm, and these roster sizes, a very big question which one's perfect as Van der Broek gets in front of Conrad Schloor for the takeaway. Dan Desmarais. Schloor on the mark, gets Bontemps on the under. Bontemps shoots deep. That looks too deep. From first assessment, it is. The intended receiver still 3-4 steps away by the time it turfs.
Yeah, getting a little bit too hungry for the fast break maybe.
Still can't say enough how lovely this venue is here. Wind picking up a beautiful sunny day in Bern, adjacent of course to the Wankdorf Stadium, home of D Young Boys Soccer Club and D Young Boys Women Soccer Club. very creative naming around here for their football outfits. Basov picks up and dumps straight back immediately.
It's been a pretty quiet game for Vlasov.
Aikit to Basov again. Metzger to Ricketts. That one up, and Aikla handles it over the head. Ricketts. Around backhand to Schlor. Schlor looks for the around backhand, and Desmarais cut it off. They go back to center. Metzger with the disc. Ricketts had that open Metzger. Why not just take it early? He does. Ricketts again, then Schlor looking forward. Shoots for goal. Basov there and stepped in front. I think there's a call. No contest. That's a goal.
Yeah, immediately accepted strip call there. Excellent spirit by Georges Donnet. I really am enjoying watching the Dan Desmarais and Conrad Schlor matchup. It's really, really entertaining to watch out on the field. You've got two very agile, very powerful athletes, but slightly different builds sort of matching up against each other. But a good sort of full seven effort from Wall City there. Really nice and patient. There was definitely some fiery defense still from Mooncatchers. Maybe, if we're going to be critical, they rested on their laurels a tiny bit at this point. They kind of maybe eased off, didn't put quite as much pressure on, tried to just have the occasional opportunities, but can't deny Vladislav Basov in the end zone.
We were talking about roster size a bit earlier. It's a 2-game day for these teams. What is the three-game day? I've been corrected in the open division. That is right. In the women's and mixed, they get themselves a 2-game day. Open division do play 3
today.
What's the sweet spot? What is the roster sweet spot here? 21, 3 rotating lines, 3 perfect lines. We see.
I think it massively depends on what your strategy is and who the players you have. It's such a flexible thing. I think coaches that are too rigid are and just try and follow one person's sort of raison d'etre for any of these choices. You've got to know who your athletes are, and you know, for some teams, like think about the other Berlin outfit from Jinx, they play with really short rosters no matter how many games they're playing,
and they do it well. Ben Yonkers. Orlovskis, who's been on the shelf for a few points as of late. De Luca straight back to Arvids Orlovskis. Playing in the reset space where we see him a little less often. Now De Luca for goal, but everybody stopped, so there must have been a small conversation there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pick for sure. Everyone else completely statue still in the end zone. But yeah, Orlovsky's getting back on the field. Not his best day at the office today, but thankfully that deep roster's got plenty of people who are indeed firing on all cylinders.
De Luca has an adjusting mark to take away the dump as Feller comes into the upfield space in front of the disc. He goes straight back to Alessandro De Luca. De Luca to Feller, nice offhand grab. Yonkers not quite in, but right on that doorstep now. Looking for a small space cut before he pop passes into retreat. Marek goes back to Yonkers. Orlovsky's with space now. He scoops it. Alessandro De Luca there. Orlovsky's on the score sheet for an assist.
Yeah, really casual, really chilled, very fun offense, regardless of the fact that it wasn't, you know, maybe not quite the high-octane stuff we saw earlier on this game. But, you know, Mooncatchers now they don't need to be frantic. They don't need to try and punch as many points in as possible. These are 80-minute long games. And they've definitely used plenty of that time available thus far, but 15-point cap, 12-6 now.
Another look at the Orlovsky Scuba and the new Mooncatcher, Alessandro De Luca, cashing in a goal, his first stat of the season as a Mooncatcher.
It's always really interesting to see how well a team with such strength can integrate those new players. And certainly De Luca seems to have found an almost immediate home amongst his fellow Mooncatchers, as we get a little chat of our fellow commentator Charlotte Terrason enjoying the sun, getting a lot of getting some interesting tan lines with those back straps. But we've all been applying our sunscreen here diligently. Of course, one of the best ways to stay sort of cool and UV free is, of course, to have a very fetching sun hoodie on to make sure the back of your neck stays cool, or a bucket hat, which I have to say the Mooncatchers have got plenty of that good stash game going on.
Mooncatchers staying away from the sun. Wall City doing their best to get back in that end zone. Schlor on the chase. He's got the right hand on it, not quite in. There he goes. Eichler with the goal, and the K to Schlor shot sets that up. And then the eventual goal to Eichler. Back on the board, Wall City.
Yeah, Eichler responsible for nearly half of the scores for Wall City, clearly having himself a great day. Plenty of juniors experience, came through the under-20 and under-24s divisions for Germany back in the day.
Back in the day when I was a teenager.
Well, under-20 is definitely, you have to be 19 or younger in the year it occurs. But I think, we are still seeing a couple of quirks from Wall City. They're not kind of, having the best day of it so far against Mooncatchers. And I have to say, Stefan, at this stage, I'd be really here for it. I would be really up for the idea of Mooncatchers losing their current cushion and Wall City having the most historic comeback. But also, this ain't the time to do it. We're in pool play. Everybody's going to get a quarter-final because it's an 8-team division. This is all about jostling for position. Warming yourselves up and getting yourself perhaps an easier cross. But it's the elite invite, man. All those quarterfinals are going to be hotly contested. It's going to be a really difficult decision for us to choose which one we feature.
Impeccably difficult. They will all be good. It's a very interesting tournament in that sense. You can afford to feel the teams out, to put some investment into adjustment and development in these early games because you're going to get a quarter. But you don't want to invest too much and have to face the giants in the quarter. Do yourself some favor and get a win or two. Here's Ben Jonkers. Sees Orlovsky's wisely, takes the wide open swing. Orlovsky's goes deep, Oczynski wide open, and beautifully weighted throw by the Latvian sensation, Arvids Orlovskis.
Yep, he's clearly had a change of position. Orlovsky is being moved from the deep space as a receiver into the handler set as a thrower, and just, proving for I don't know even how many-th time at this point in his career that he's a dynamic individual on both sides of the disc. So clearly not having his best day, and not got quite his reading glasses on, but he's definitely got his sights set correctly on that throwing arm. But at this moment, it just feels a little bit like, as we say, we could get a comeback. There's still a little bit of game time left. We've got just under 15 minutes of regulation play here at the Elite Invite, but I kind of feel like this might be a bit of a foregone conclusion for Mooncatchers.
It's looking quite like that'll be the case. And of course, the stadium next to us, I think when pronounced properly, it's Wankdorf. We are given the commentary here in English. I also find it amusing the name of their team, Die Young Boys, but they use a German word as an article with two English words, and it kind of gives you the sense to say Die Young Boys.
It does, Stefan. It's definitely one of the joys of being a native English speaker in a fantastically European world.
K gets the disc far sideline. Goes up line to Metzger and gets all sort of yardage. Metzger looked to go around and then puts it right in the middle. Through Schlor, through Kay. Now for goal, Eichler puts the foot down. That's 2 goals in a row for Eichler. And it's 8 on the board for Wall City.
Well, what a change in Wall City. Again, perhaps it's a slight less intensity on the side of Mooncatchers. They're not quite as thirsty for breaks as they were coming into this second half when they took the 3 on the bounce to start off. But this is much better. Clearly they have found some structures and some plays that work for them and just seem a lot calmer with the disc. They're not finding themselves in those high stall opportunities. And again, once more in the end zone, Leo Eichler. Clearly for Wall City, the athlete of this game. Who would be your pick for Mooncatchers?
Oh, the way that game started, the 2 brothers that tend to often stand out were doing much of the same. I think if I had to choose one of them, I'd probably give it to Ben in the start of this game. I mean, there's still the few standout plays as well that really like make their mark. And that Van den Broek's play there was sensational. He's got himself 2 blocks, 1 with the exceptional layout. So let's say I'm going to leave it to within 2 for now. Van den Broek and Ben Jonkers are where I'm putting my player of the game thus far, but there is still game to play, and a foot block there by the 36 shirt for Wall City.
Well, an opportunity gifted to Wall by their own feet.
Gaffney centers. No around available. Big mark by ref Yonkers. Now widen around. Gaffney needs a play, can't make it. Too far, that throw. Mooncatchers with another chance as Ben Yonkers picks up. Yonkers to Yonkers. Now it's ref with the disc. Ref gets Merrick. He does keep his foot down. That looks very much in. No discussion necessary. Oh, I take that back. Small discussion necessary.
Commentator's curse, mate.
Around throw by Marek, the handy Czech player. And now Oczynski floats it maybe a bit too much. He did, and that one's picked off by Smith. Gaffney. To Smith. Gaffney in his own end zone. Pick called on the field. Double bicep flex indicated. Oh, looks like a strip's gonna be called. Ben Yonkers put his hand on the disc and the disc is on the floor. But foul called. Disc still in his hand before the release, but that was good defense, I'll still say, by Ben Yonkers. Widen around, just past Feller, but not enough to get to Gaffney. A very short field for the Mooncatchers now.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a spook after that foul.
Ben Yonkers slow to the disc, taking his time, waiting for some. He hammers, that has a triple helix on it, but ref Yonkers does collect in the flank space. Back to Ben Yonkers. Ref on the move. Can he bail his brother out? He certainly can. Yonkers to Yonkers as Ben does a lunge stretch to celebrate there.
Well, he never moved out of it. He went for that really low, complete committal pivot, That back left knee completely on the floor, you know, just really getting the gluteals going, and then just basically waited until ref ran up the line. And then put it out into space. That throw made Raf Yonkers look very good.
Indeed, here's another look, and
yeah.
As you have a look, just so you know, when Hannah was explaining that move, she was getting right down into it so she could really feel what he's going through. What a play by Ref Yonkers. That's great horizontal layout, 2 hands on it. There was no more he could have put into that to make that one come off. Great work on another Yonkers to Yonkers connection.
And we can actually now finally credit the foot block for the number 36 from Wall City, Yannick Marbourg. So I probably hideously mispronounced his surname, but that's what we're going for. But yeah, Yonkers having a great game, and it's nice to, you know, it's a bit like when people are having spirit discussions, Stefan. Sometimes it's nice to really, you know, physically demonstrate what happened. Schlor going deep, but that throw doesn't come.
Here they come. Metzger, Wall City, and the Berlin compatriots need a score here. Anything less would be a finished game. If Mooncatchers can get a turn, they will be in a game point situation. Rickards gets the up line, maintenance of possession, and now Metzger.
Yeah, really great determination from Rickards. Didn't get it on the first asking, but good creativity to go up line.
Inside break to Schlor, far sideline. Now K, doorstep from the cone. Back to Schlor. Immediate pushy high release to White, K rather, and now Metzger. Into Schlor, there's the goal. Game extended at least for one more point.
Oh my goodness, Konrad Schlor. If that high release, push passy, windy, whatever the heck that throw was, if that were an actual human being, I would consider breaking my own personal rules and marrying it. That's how nice that was, especially in these windy conditions.
Goodness gracious, that is an impressive pass. Yeah, look at that. I mean, it is a high release. It's a push pass, pop pass, a push pop.
And the speed with which he made the decision to throw that and executed it. Oh, yes, please.
And
love that.
I'm glad he gets the reward, gets to cash the goal, puts another number on his stat line there, which is a nice little stat line as well. But Konrad Schlor with 2 goals, 4 assists, and a block. Not a bad game for the 47 shirt.
Oh yeah, he's back, baby. But the first opportunity for coming out as an offensive line for Mooncatchers to finish this one off their match point. But in terms of the development for your season, if you're Wall City, this is, you know, you pretend in your head it's 0-0, game to 1, sudden death.
Yeah, this is the, I mean, the mentality switch of we got to win to let's not lose, and then let's not let them win. It takes this pressure off. It's a very different mentality. It makes you extend the game, but let's not let them win is something that, I mean, why we see so many late game comebacks available. But here, a chance to win. Orlovsky's with the disc in hand. High stall count now. Ben Yonkers engaged, nothing. DeLuca gives. Option, and now to Feller. Feller moves forward. Oczynski back to Ben Yonkers. Yonkers wound up, put it away. Maddock goes to Oczynski. Gets the upliner right into the face of Feller. Just keeps it off the schnoz. Now looking back, infield only, centering, gets Oczynski, look to go wide around quickly. But turned the other way. Now has Ben Yonkers, but there's a hand on it, and that one is turned. Lucas Johnson adds another block to his day.
Yeah, real impact defender.
Timeout called by Wall City. Could this be the start of the late game charge? Only time will tell, but potential for an interesting finish here, Hannah.
Well, do we like the timeout call at this point? I mean, it was a slow walk to start anyway. We are a dead disc, but it's tricky. Let's see how it turns out for them. Will it be one after these messages?
July from Nottingham, England, the World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ULTI.TV.
So, late game timeout. Why not use it? Why not? They're like, do they need to ride momentum at this stage? Do they need to ride the momentum of getting that turn? Or, you know, if they don't use it, they lose it. That is some potential truth.
And you also have 2 per game per half, sorry, 2 per half per team per game, if that makes any sense. But I don't dislike it, that extra bit of thinking.
Always worth questioning. We're here to question every decision they make out there. That's the truth.
Contrarian to the last.
And we see a turn there, but there is a foul on the play, right back in the hands of Yoel Ben-Joseph, a man we love to work with here at ULTI.TV. He does some great work, yes, out there on the field, but as well on the highlights. That one did get away and turned into a tipped Callahan, but it doesn't look like it'll count as such.
Yeah, Heinrichs did have a pretty good position on that one, so if he felt like the defender came over the top, then that is a fair call, and it is accepted as such. De Luca accepts that one, and Wall City will retain possession with central field position.
Ben-Joseph wound up. Couple receivers looked off, then goes wide. Ben-Joseph again. Oh, and chopped down by Oczynski. And another chance to put this one away. If the Mooncatchers find the end zone, Yonkers wants to do it in one throw, but there's nobody home on the other end of that one.
Didn't he know that Arvid Orlovsky's end zone privileges have been revoked? I think that dude was just hanging out in the backspace waiting for somebody else to make a play.
And Ben-Joseph's gonna walk it back to his front line. Disc is in for Wall City. Nice wide release backhand and hucked the other way. Rickards is there, Merrick on the chase, and Merrick smacks it away. And that is Johnson, rather, not Rickards.
I don't mind that. Playing for a little bit of yards. You've got a windy game in front of you. Possession has changed hands a number of times already in this point. Conservatism be damned at this point of the game if you are Wall City. You've got to take your risks.
If they're going to go down, they're going to go down swinging and at least make Mooncatchers have to go the length of the field to put it away. Huuhtanen goes wide. Feller picks up left hand. Inside, over the head of the intended receiver, but Orlovsky there is the bailout. Orlovsky's to Feller. Feller, ooh, tried to squeeze it in, but knocked away from Ben Yonkers. He says he's fouled. A lot of traffic there. Tough one, but Heinrich is accepting. I'm not sure I would have been from my angle. Yonkers.
Pick call pretty much as soon as that got back in play.
Bump on the mark there. Ben Yonkers gets Feller. De Luca, nice catch. Looked easy because he is a very skilled player, but that was not an easy catch.
Yeah, you could see the adjustment in his hips as he gets absolutely mounted by his defender.
We'll leave it at that. Marek now goes back to center to Ben Yonkers. He looks for a patented Jimmy shimmy, but then just swings it to Orlovsky's. Feller, far sideline. Goes backwards to Ben Yonkers. Feller now, this is their chance to win this game. Yonkers shoots for goal. Huhtinen puts the foot down, and the Mooncatchers win this second game of pool play and advance to 2-0 on the day.
Yeah, that really tricky pool for the Open Division, Pool B, where you're fighting against these two teams, but La Fotta alongside as well as Clapham. A second loss for Wall City, which will not be exactly what they wanted, but they have an opportunity tomorrow to try and best Clapham. Actually, is it today? They said they have 3 days today.
The Open Division plays 3 games today.
There we go, there we go.
Women get 2 apiece and finish off pool play tomorrow.
Indeed. So, but a decent performance from Mooncatchers. We obviously didn't give them too much creds towards the end of that game because they were trailing by quite so many, but that was pretty much just trading out the latter second of that half. Any insight from the stats?
Just before we get to any statistics, just on the other fields, we do have scores. The Open Pool A Chevron 3SB was a universe point game that went to 3SB, and that is puts 3SB on top of their pool. They're 2-0 over there. That is the pool that people seem to believe will fare worse, but we will only be the wiser once we get the crossover.
Absolutely. And looking at the shape of this game, plenty of turnovers for both teams. I want to sort of, maybe neaten that up a bit, but clean holds for Mooncatchers and clean breaks as well. When they were given the disc, especially early in their game, they really, really punished Wall City. And that is something that you're going to have to look out if you're going to try and best Mooncatchers' talented squad going forward. But heck, I mean, Wall City have a lot of quality on their roster, and I could see them playing their way up through the championship bracket by stealing someone's berth away from the top end of Pool A. But this is the beautiful thing about Elite Invite, Stefan. It's tough here at the top.
They won it last year. They know how to do it, but there is a heck of a lot of competition this year. Thank you all very much for joining us. We will be back very soon with action from the women's division. I've been Stefan Rapazzo, joined with the wonderful Hannah Pendlebury, and you've been watching us on ULTI.TV. Thanks again. We'll be back very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.